As the soft glow of sunset began to sweep across the park, the tall trees bathed in golden light swayed gently in the breeze. A serene hush filled the air, broken only by distant laughter and the chirping of birds. Rachel sat alone on a bench, savoring the rare moment of peace, her body finally relaxing after a week weighed down by constant pressure. She closed her eyes, allowing the soothing sounds to wash over her, grounding her to the present. These fleeting moments were precious. To her, a chance to simply exist without deadlines or demands. Today, she felt especially lucky to be tucked into this quiet corner of the world, even if just for a little while. Dressed in a sleek black pencil skirt and a crisp white blouse, her heels neatly crossed at the ankles, Rachel looked every bit the picture of composure. Her long hair spilled over her shoulders in soft waves, catching hints of the sun's last light. Leaning back, she breathed deeply, feeling a small knot of stress unravel within her. Her gaze drifted beyond the trees, in the direction of the police station, where her husband, Logan, was wrapping up another demanding day. Logan was a man who wore resilience like armor. Rising through the ranks to become a police captain hadn't been easy, especially coming from a background where the odds had always been stacked against him. Growing up in a tough neighborhood, he learned early on that nothing would be handed to him. His success wasn't just built on hard work, but on fighting past prejudice and systemic barriers at every step. Being a man of color in a position of authority meant he had to constantly prove himself, passing grueling tests, working harder, standing taller, and enduring silent judgment from both within and outside the force. But Logan's dedication to justice had never wavered. He saw his work not just as a career, but as a mission, a way to open doors for others who looked like him, and to show that integrity could carve a path even where the way seemed impossible. Rachel smiled softly, reaching for her phone to text Logan just to let him know she was nearby. But before she could even unlock the screen, she noticed a figure moving into her peripheral vision. Looking up, she was met by a man in a police uniform. He was tall, with a sharply set jaw and an expression that was far from welcoming. Something about his presence immediately unsettled her, but she shook the feeling off, reminding herself that the park was public and officers often made rounds. "Good afternoon, miss," he said, his voice deep but edged with a strange undercurrent she couldn't quite place. "Isn't the evening beautiful?" Rachel offered a polite smile, nodding. "It is," she replied, even as her instincts prickled uneasily. Her eyes briefly flickered to the name tag pinned to his uniform. Adam Miller. She didn't recognize the name, or the face. Maybe he was new to the force. Still, what unsettled her wasn't his unfamiliarity. It was the way he looked at her, as if trying to peer through her, examining her like a specimen. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, his tone oddly eager. Rachel stiffened. She didn't want to cause a scene, but instinctively wanted to leave. "I'm just waiting for my husband," she said carefully, her voice even though her nerves tightened. As she shifted to stand, Adam reached out and grabbed her wrist, yanking her back down to the bench. His grip was firm, uncomfortably so, and a twisted smile played on his lips. "Your husband, huh? You sure you don't need a little company while you wait?" Rachel's heart thudded painfully against her ribs, but she forced herself to stay composed. "No, I'm fine. Thank you," she said, turning her face away, hoping he would lose interest. But Adam wasn't done. His hand, slow and deliberate, slid onto her thigh. Every fiber of Rachel's being recoiled at the touch. It wasn't just physical. It felt like a violation of her very dignity. A cold, crawling sensation swept over her skin, and a sickening feeling churned in her stomach. His touch was possessive, filled with a dark disrespect that cut deeper than anything she could have imagined. In his gaze she could see it, contempt disguised as arrogance, a dehumanizing belief that she was somehow lesser. A storm of emotions surged inside Rachel. The humiliation burned hotter than fire. Her mind screamed against the injustice, the hatred masquerading as casual cruelty. Was it because she was a woman of color? Because he thought he could exert power over her without consequence? The thought only fueled the growing fire in her chest. She could not, would not, let it go unanswered. In one swift, furious motion, Rachel stood, ripping her wrist from his grasp. "You filthy bastard," she spat, her voice slicing through the stillness like a blade. Her hand moved instinctively, delivering a stinging slap across Adam's face. The crack echoed loud and sharp, making several heads turn. Adam stumbled back, momentarily stunned, his face reddening with both the force of the blow and the public humiliation. Rachel's chest heaved with righteous anger. "Who do you think you are?" she shouted, her voice trembling with fury. "You think you can do anything you want just because of the color of my skin? You're nothing but a coward, a disgrace to the badge you wear." Adam's eyes flashed with pure rage. The murmuring crowd around them grew louder, some raising their phones to record the confrontation. Adam's mask slipped completely, and hatred poured from him like a poison. "You crazy black woman," he snarled, his voice thick with venom. "You people are only good for lowly things. You don't deserve anything better." The words hit Rachel harder than any slap could. They lodged deep in her heart, raw and vicious. Her whole body shook with fury, but before she could respond, Adam acted. With a sudden, brutal kick to her stomach, he knocked the wind from her lungs. Rachel crumpled to the ground, gasping, the world spinning around her. The sharp pain radiated from her core, leaving her dizzy and disoriented as she tried to push. Herself upright, gasps and outraged cries erupted around them. A crowd quickly gathered, some filming, others shouting furiously at Adam. "How could you?" someone yelled. "You're supposed to protect people, not attack them." Another voice rang out. Rachel struggled to breathe, feeling the roughness of the dirt beneath her palms. She heard the chaos around her but couldn't quite focus on any single sound. All she knew was pain, physical, emotional, all-consuming. Above her, Adam looked around, panic starting to crack through his furious facade as he realized the weight of what he had done. Then, pushing through the crowd like a force of nature, Logan arrived. His eyes locked instantly onto Rachel's crumpled form on the ground, and the sight ignited a rage in him that nothing could extinguish. "Step aside!" Logan's voice tore through the evening air, booming with fury. His feet hammered against the ground as he rushed forward. "What the hell do you think you're doing, hitting a woman?" His rage burned hot and fierce, sharp enough to silence the growing crowd. Adam turned slowly, his face cold and unbothered, but Logan was already too far gone for restraint. "You put your hands on my wife," he growled, shaking with anger. "You're a disgrace to that badge you wear." Adam smirked, tilting his head in cruel amusement. "She's just a colored woman. Who cares?" he said, his voice dripping with venom. Logan's fists clenched at his sides. His chest rose and fell rapidly as he struggled against the urge to strike Adam where he stood. "You have no right to speak about any human being like that," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "You don't deserve that uniform, and you sure as hell don't deserve respect." Without sparing another glance at Adam, Logan dropped to Rachel's side. She lay curled up, her body shaking, one hand pressed protectively against her abdomen. His heart broke at the sight. Gently, he touched her arm. Rachel, I'm here. Talk to me. Where does it hurt?" Rachel opened her eyes, her face pale, with pain, but fiercely determined. Seeing Logan's face filled her with strength. Her lips quivered as she whispered, "You're here. That's all that matters." She tried to sit up, and Logan immediately wrapped his arm around her back, supporting her tenderly. "You're going to be okay," he said firmly, although inside he was drowning in panic. "I promise you, love, he's not getting away with this." Adam stood nearby, arms crossed arrogantly, still refusing to recognize the gravity of what he had done. "What's a coward like you going to do about it? You people are all the same," he sneered. Logan slowly rose, a silent storm building inside him. Reaching into his jacket, he pulled out his badge and held it up for everyone to see. The sun caught the polished metal, making it gleam like a blade in the fading light. Adam's smirk faltered. His mouth dropped open slightly as he read the badge. "Captain?" he stuttered, disbelief flashing in his eyes. "That's right," Logan said, stepping closer. "You just assaulted the wife of a police captain. You've made a mistake you can never undo." The crowd that had been gathering broke into applause and shouts of approval. Some laughed loudly, others jeered at Adam, pointing their phones at him to capture every second. "Now that's karma!" someone shouted from the back. Adam stood frozen, his face reddening with shame and anger. The power he thought made him untouchable had crumbled in front of everyone. Logan faced the crowd, his voice carrying a firm authority. "Who's willing to be a witness? We're going to need your testimony." Cheers erupted in response. "We saw it all," a woman cried. "We'll back you up." Without wasting time, Logan called for backup. His hands were steady now, fueled by a deeper sense of duty. Within moments, sirens pierced the air. Another patrol unit arrived. Adam didn't resist when they approached. He simply hung his head low as they placed him in cuffs. The scene was electric. People filmed as Adam was led away, his disgrace recorded from every angle. No protection, no excuses, no hiding. The evidence, from witnesses to video clips, left no room for escape. The investigation that followed was swift and merciless. Adam was stripped of his badge, fired from the force, and charged formally for his actions. What he thought of, as authority turned to chains around his wrists. For Logan and Rachel, the road to healing wasn't instant, but it was filled with solidarity. They stood together, not only as husband and wife, but as a symbol that no amount of hate or corruption could silence the truth. As they walked away from the courthouse months later, hand in hand, Logan glanced at Rachel and knew that while injustice would always exist, standing up to it would always matter more.